Yesterday, I was talking about the siren on a fire truck as it was going by because it sounded very loud, and I was sure it was gonna get picked up on the podcast, but then I listened back to the podcast, and you couldn't hear it. So it sounds like I'm making it up or something, but I wasn't. Not that I was accused of making it up. I just wanted to address the fact that you couldn't hear the siren, yes, yet I'm talking about the siren. I don't know why I feel like I need to address it. Nobody cares. I want you to know the details are important to me, and you're important to me. And just because there was a period in my life in high school where I was an habitual liar doesn't make me dishonest now. Not that I'm honest I'm pretty honest now that I think about it. I don't have reason to be dishonest. But if I did, I would be. Yeah, I'm not like cannot tell a lie. Like I said, I was an habitual liar when I was in high school. And then I would just make up things that nobody cared about just to make myself feel better because I wasn't enough. And I really wasn't. And now I am. When I was a teenager, I was a mess. So I don't even like to think about it, but I think about it all the time. I just don't like to. I don't dwell on it that much. But now every once in a while it comes up and I'm like, ugh, ooh, that was what was I doing? And then I think about other kids around when I was in high school, and they just seem to fucking get it. They're like, how do they all just understand how to do everything? And I was just an absolute idiot, just stumbling around. I that caught on, and I was it wasn't even as bad as I think it was. I had friends, I had good times. I was even kind of cool. Now I think I take it all back. I was like the coolest kid in high school. And you fast forward to today. I am absolutely the coolest out of everybody. It just you took a little time for it to catch on. I had to grow into it. This is great. I just healed my inner child. Now I feel equipped to get to the news. What's happening? US tried to restrict Canada's ability to get new trade deals. Carney says US asked too much and offered too little after trade talks fall apart. Everybody knows that Trump is not some negotiator. Like, everybody knows that, right? You know that. I mean, not everybody. There's a bunch of people that think that he wrote the art of the deal or whatever. But most people know. He just yells insane demands. And then his people around him say that's great. I think Canada can win a trade war. If Iran can win a war, Canada can win a trade war. You take a small country, back it up against the wall, make it fight for its life, it's gonna fight for its life. And now that every country thinks we're the enemy, the United States being we. I don't know where you are. The Substack podcast numbers are not really great, the analytics. So I don't know where anybody is, but most of you are in the United States, and there's a small percentage that's scattered around the world. According to Substack, some of you are in Belgium, and I don't believe that. If you are, please let me know. Would love to hear from you. Email me, Chris at chrislaker.com. If you're in Belgium, listen to this. Love Belgium. I spent a month there when I was 14 years old. But a lot of the world sees the United States as the enemy, at least in trade. Everybody's looking around saying, why do we need the United States so fucking much? So Canada's probably got a pretty good chance at getting their own deals with whoever, I think. I don't know what I'm talking about. I do know a trade war with Canada is stupid as fuck. Sorry, Canadians. I mean, that's just for me. It's not the whole country. But most of the country would say, yeah, sorry about that. 40,000 bottles of eye drops across the U.S. recalled over issues with sterility of product. So no eye drops, no fresh fruit or vegetables, no eggs, and I would watch out for a lot of things. Go for anything in a can right now, and don't put anything in your eyes. We are not in the best position for a trade war when things are getting recalled like every day. This is awful for high school students. When I was in high school, I needed eye drops so I didn't look high in class. The problem with that, though, is if a teacher saw Visine in your locker or like saw you putting Visine in your eyes, then they were like, "Oh, you've been smoking weed. I know what Visine's for." And I'm like, "No, I just have dry eyes. I actually need this. How dare you accuse me of using illicit drugs when I have an eye condition? ICE agent jailed on allegations of breaking into ex-girlfriend's apartment. I thought ICE agents are just allowed to break down any door they feel like. And they do a thorough background check. And if you have any domestic violence charges, they push you forward through some of the training because you don't need the hand to hand combat training. Obviously, you know how to punch an innocent person who's unarmed. So they get to save some of the money on I think it might be 36 hours of training that these Proud Boys have to go through before they're given guns and sent out in the street to just randomly tackle people and terrorize citizens. So this officer was serving justice at his girlfriend's house, and I'm sure he did nothing wrong and will be exonerated. Hook, hold, harvest, and hide. Meta's alleged strategy laid out in first week of landmark trial. I talked about this the other day about Meta just getting everybody's information or all this economy around everybody's information. I posted a reel on Instagram. If you follow Overslept Pod on Instagram, you can see the reel that's cut from one of the episodes. I forget. It was recent, so I don't want to go into the whole rant again and repeat myself, but I don't understand why Meta is so obsessed. Well, because there's money. I understand why I don't understand why people are paying money for people's information to sell them bullshit when you're selling everybody the same bullshit and everybody wants the bullshit. In the United States, we worship consumerism, myself included. And the only thing that's holding us back from buying more bullshit is money. As long as we have money, we'll buy bullshit. Like when everybody got COVID checks, they went and bought Nintendo Switches right away. But I was going off on this the other day, so I really don't want to repeat myself. But everybody could stop being creeps and still sell us bullshit and have all the ads on Facebook and everybody's making money and you don't have to be fucking creeps about it, but they like to be creeps. There's more money in being creeps for some reason. Somali pirates hijacked oil tanker off Yemen in latest attack. That is wrong. It is wrong for anybody to steal anybody else's shit. Like to go into another country and take their oil. That's also wrong. But this is wrong just because there's governments of countries that I'm not going to name doing something more wrong doesn't make this less wrong. Pirates, they're bad. It sounds cool, pirate. There's a lot of cool imagery around pirates, but it's not cool. And pirating videos. Okay, when you go on the internet on Pirate Bay, you're stealing. Those warnings at the beginning of movies when you get DVDs and say, "Hey, you wouldn't steal a car. You shouldn't steal this movie." It was silly, okay? It looked silly, but it was true. You're stealing from Hollywood studios, which will eventually be one company. Just because the United States government is acting like laws don't exist doesn't mean you get to, or these Somali pirates. There's international law that the United States ignores because, hey, we're the United States. Turkey seeks Interpol arrest warrant for Netanyahu over Gaza flotilla detention. It's a shame when dictators don't get along. Erdogan and Netanyahu should really be friends. It's better that they're not. But I would imagine if they met and talked for like a couple of minutes, they'd be like, come on, we really know how to be dictators. It's a good time. A lot of people don't like it. But if they were the dictator, they'd like it. But we can't all be dictators, can we? But you and I can. Pentagon dismisses Stars and Stripes leadership after editor reporter opposes military interference. And they weren't dismissed because they were speaking out about actual interference that was happening. They were fired for insubordination because in an interview, they said they would be opposed to the military interfering into the reporting at Stars and Stripes. They didn't want that to happen. So they didn't say it was happening. I guess they're saying it wasn't happening, but they would be opposed to it. And the Pentagon was, Pete Hegseth, I guess. He's, what do you mean? I can't tell you what to report. I know the news better than anybody. I was on Fox News. I hosted Fox and Friends. No, not during the week, on the weekend. I was a fill in on Fox and Friends. I know journalism better than anybody.